Welcome to ZKast, everyone. I'm ZS Caraval from ZK Research, and I'm here in Las Vegas. I'm actually in town for AWS reInvent, but I get tired of doing videos over there and 60,000 other people. So I came over here to Redwall Studios, where Extreme Networks is, and I know you guys are doing some filming here, so I thought it'd be cool to do it here.
Well, thank you. Thank you for following us all the way over here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm here with Carla Guzzetti. What's your role with Extreme?
So I'm Senior Vice President of Product Experience and Innovation. And I'm currently overseeing the development of a new platform for us. I also oversee our entire front end for our portfolio and all of our user content.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking platform, but first, let's take a step back and just talk about what's going on in networking. I recently ran a survey with the partnership with the Cube Research, and we found that 93% of respondents said the network is more valuable to business operations than it was 2 years ago, which it's good to hear finally that people understand that the network actually is the business. Now, they also found, though, that 80% said the network's more complex than it was 2 years ago. And so if you think about those kind of diverging lines, more important, more complex, that's not good, right? And so why do you think the network is more complex today?
So I think, number one, I think I'm with you. It's really exciting that people really understand that connectivity is really the lifeblood of any business. It really, I mean, if we look at how important it was in the pandemic, it allowed our governments, our businesses to continue to thrive, even though we couldn't see each other one-to-one. We couldn't be together. Yeah. So I think that it's fantastic that businesses are really understanding the importance of connectivity. Now, similar to any kind of technology, things get more complex the more that they are able to do, the more importance, the more dependency that we have on them. And I think that the complexity and the responsibility from my perspective as a vendor, my responsibility is to make sure that I take away the pain of that complexity as we build our products and we think about how our users and our customers can really interact with it. So even though the complexity is there, it is incumbent upon us to actually reduce that complexity for the user so that they can prove that value and continue to improve that value to the business overall.
You know, it's funny, I was talking to one of the sports CIOs, and I know Extreme is big into sports, in one of the arenas, and they had a problem with flooding, and they weren't sure if they were going to get the network up. And he said the owners asked him, "Are we going to be able to have a game?" And he goes, "I don't know." He goes, "The network's not."
That's the truth.
And they were asking why. He goes, "You don't understand. Our tickets are all digital.
Yep.
Point of sales all digital.
Yep.
I mean, the air conditioning is connected to it. If there's no network, there's no game."
Exactly.
Right. And so that's now one of the big trends, and I'll tie this back to reInvent too. Their AI was obviously a big theme there. It's a big theme everywhere. How do you think AI adds to the complexity of the network, or does it?
Actually, I think AI, in a lot of ways, in the way that we're thinking about it at Extreme, has to reduce the complexity, because the number one thing...
It adds to it, but then can also
It adds to it, but it actually makes it sometimes easier as well. And this is where I think it's really going to help in the very near term. The one thing I continue to hear is not only the increased complexity of the technology, but then also IT staffing. IT staffing and the staffing shortage for a number of CIOs and a number of our customers around the world, that has been a pain point I have heard for the last 5.5 years, and it's gotten louder and louder and louder. AI will bring in the opportunity for all companies to do more with less. And it is, like I said, our responsibility as a vendor to think about how do we make it easy for people to access, to adopt AI, and to understand how it can fit into their day-to-day workflows so they can actually boost their productivity and boost their efficiencies.
Yeah, and I think another thing that's both simultaneously making things simpler and more complicated is security.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it seems, I've been an analyst for 25 years, and it seems my entirety of my analyst life, I've predicted that networking and security would come together, and frankly, that didn't happen. But it seems to be now. I know Extreme's got a big security story. Most of the security vendors are in networking as well. Why now? Why do you think people have now finally grasp the concept that networking and security have to be together?
I think that there's a fundamental exhaustion in the industry of having to deal with so many different vendors. And you realize in a lot of customers and users that we've talked to, the exhaustion is constantly thinking through, I change one thing over here, I do one workflow over here, and it takes me over here, and now I have to change something else completely over there. They are inherently connected to one another. And I think that we're in a time and in a space where people are frustrated. They want more simplicity. And I think that they're starting to recognize that if I change security over here, it changes my access over there. Why are these two things not connected? And when you add in the additional complexity, the lack of staffing, it's creating a demand within the industry where they're saying, why doesn't this work?
I think in a lot of ways, more complexity plus separate security and networking silos leads to blind spots.
Yes.
And you don't want that. So now, so let's pivot to Extreme One, the platform. First
Extreme Platform One.
Extreme Platform One, sorry. So what is it, and what's the problem you're trying to solve?
So what is it? Extreme Platform One, the one thing I want to get out there, it is not a manager of managers. I think anytime somebody says platform nowadays, because everybody likes to talk about platform, they automatically think, oh, is this going to sit on top of things and be a manager of managers? No.
And then single pane of glass. And
It's single pane of glass. It's none of that. What we are doing is we're integrating the capabilities of our entire portfolio into a single platform. So what that means is it's security and networking together with AI at the core. And what it does for our customers and for our partners and for our users is that it makes it easy to be able to have workflows that bring security and networking together, and it's AI enabled every step of the way. So that way, every workflow, we've thought about how can AI either really augment this, how can it replace this workflow, or how do we create new workflows? And we've really been thoughtful about how do we bring AI into that user experience. If you're going to, because AI can play, I know a lot right now, everybody's sort of like, isn't AI just another big chatbot?
Yeah.
And it's so much more than a chatbot. And what we've done is we're thinking about if you have a chat interface with AI, that's really as an advisor. We've created an entirely new way to interact with AI so that you can collaborate with AI as though they're a designer. So it's building something with you. And then the last piece is when you think about AI agents. That's really when you want a team member. You trust AI to be able to run discrete services for you. So that's how we're thinking about it and how we're approaching it, so that as you feel more comfortable working with AI, that level of trust is there with you.
I actually think in a lot of ways, AI necessitates a platform approach. I know platform is, as you said, has been this word that's been thrown around the network industry, but in a lot of ways, I think it really hadn't got there because it was a bit of a solution looking for a problem.
Yep.
Now that networking is becoming more AI based, so what does that mean? If it's more AI based, it means it's more data based, right? And so good data leads to good insights, but silos of data lead to fragmented insights.
Exactly.
And if you're running your Wi-Fi network from one vendor and your campus from another and your WAN from another, you're going to have three separate silos of data, and one vendor might tell you their network's performing great, and another might tell you it's not performing well at all, and you don't really know what the truth is. Right. And so I think that single set of data actually adds to the AI capabilities. Now,
bingo.
Yeah. Now, you had said AI at the core. What does that mean?
So what it means is that, similar to the point that you just made, our platform, we've unified all of the services in the background. So we have a set of common services, but more importantly, we've created an AI core, which ingests all of this data into one place so that our AI expert really has insights across your entire data set. Integration is also a huge portion of our platform experience, because we need to be able to integrate alliance partner data and then also your own data from your own company, not just from your own network. So that way AI can drive better analytics, bigger insights. The more data you provide to AI, the more insightful it can be. And so we are giving our customers the option to be able to bring in more and ingest more, because we have built this AI core at the center of Extreme Platform One.
Yeah, that's great. In fact, I think you'd almost think of it as built with purpose with AI versus it being laid on top. And,
exactly.
But I will say that when I look at the messaging coming from all the vendors out there, they all say AI.
Yes.
And so how do you think Extreme's implementation of AI is different?
I think our implementation of AI, my background actually is not in networking. My background has been in e-commerce and advertising. And when we thought about Extreme Platform One and when we think about AI, I really wanted to take an approach that was totally and obsessively user-centric. So, because I think that part of the demand and part of the noise that we're hearing from the industry of we want things to come together, I'm exhausted by so many vendors, is coming from the fact that it is a very painful user experience. And so I wanted to inject a little B2C thinking into B2B. And so when we think about how we work with AI and our approach with AI, we have broken it out so that AI is naturally ingrained in the entire user experience. It's not just, as you said, an overlay. We're thinking about different ways that users interact with it and how that impacts what they're trying to do so that that they can take things from months or even days down into minutes and seconds. And we've taken a very thoughtful approach, not thinking about a lift and shift of features from our portfolio and putting them into the platform, but rather, what is the capability and how does that address the specific use case so that we can create a more meaningful experience with AI at the center of it? There is no one in our industry that's thinking about it that way.
All right, that's fair enough. And can you give me any customer examples that are trialing it and the benefits they've seen?
Yeah, so we've had a few of our partners already working within our beta since earlier this year. And of course, being Extreme, we have our own Extreme IT team. We have a program within Extreme called Extreme on Extreme. And so they have been in our workspace in Extreme Platform 1 for well over 6 months. So we've had them banging on it, wanting them to poke holes in it and tell us what our problems are, but more importantly, where are they really seeing the benefits? And where they really see the benefits right now is that we are providing a single view for subscriptions. We're providing a single view for assets. We're helping them with compliance maintenance, with firmware, with upgrades. Also, we have unified visibility. So you can see your service layer, your fabric layer, and your physical layer, and we'll bring in Wi-Fi maps all into one view, all AI powered. It saves time. It helps their staffs really understand the complexity of their network. So it saves them with onboarding time, with staffing, and also troubleshooting and monitoring, saving time.
So drinking your own champagne.
Oh, all the time.
All right, Carla, just a couple more questions. Now, I am here for reInvent, and I know AWS is a partner of Extreme's.
Yep.
So can you talk about the relationship Extreme has with AWS?
Yeah, we have a wonderful relationship with AWS. You know, the majority of our cloud platform actually runs on AWS. We also have a part of my team that handles knowledge as a service, which runs with AWS. They've been a major partner of ours for many, many years. They're increasingly becoming a strategic partner with Extreme Networks. And so, you know, we've had the whole team here training the whole week. This is one of our biggest and most important training events out of the year with AWS. So it's been great to continue on that partnership.
Yeah, I saw Marcus Nispel, the European CTO, over at the event, and he said, I think almost had like over a couple dozen people here, so that was good to see.
Yeah, we actually have 29 people here.
Oh, well, that's a big investment then.
Yeah,
so.
it is.
All right, just last question then. For companies that are thinking about network modernization, right, and I hope everybody's thinking about that, right?
I know I do.
Yeah. What advice can you give them?
Well, I think if you're thinking about network modernization, I think it's important when you're thinking about any type of business move, because as we started this conversation, you were saying IT, we're really starting to see the importance of connectivity. That is really the lifeblood. So this is more like a business problem than anything else. And I think that what I would recommend is start with what's the outcome that you are trying to drive. Is it efficiency? Is it scaling? Go there and then work back and think about how modernization impacts that, because modernization is really just the strategy and the tactical plan, but you ultimately need to know where you're going when you're thinking about modernization.
All right. Well, on that note then, anything else you want to add?
No, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We love this. And thank you so much for joining us here at Red Wall.
No, thanks. And it was great to be able to get out of the conference center for a while. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So on behalf of Carla Guzzetti from Extreme Networks, I'm ZS Caravallo from ZK Researching. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time on the next episode of ZKast.